the feints, the foot movement, the way he lands shots. He fights like a boxer. He doesn't fight like a guy who's trying to box in a celebrity boxing match.
Let that sink in.
Jake
That's
Paul,
boxing right
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200.
That is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference. Almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely...
Joe Rogan has once again shaken up the combat sports world with a bold prediction ahead of the Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Tank Davis showdown. The UFC commentator didn't mince words, warning that Jake Paul's sheer size and weight advantage could be enough to end Tank's career if they ever meet in the ring. Rogan acknowledged Davis's incredible explosiveness and knockout power but insisted the physical gap is just too wide. In his view, no matter how sharp Tank's skills are, Jake's power, reach, and sheer size could prove overwhelming once the punches start landing.
My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm an idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love
That
everybody.
had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
If I bet on it,
watching
it,
watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in. They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in.
Rogan admitted that Jake Paul has truly grown as a fighter. He said that if Paul didn't come from a YouTube background, people would see his rise as something special, because he actually knows how to fight, shows real composure, and understands the rhythm of the ring. But Rogan also issued a serious warning: a fight with Gervonta Davis is dangerous territory. He stressed that Tank operates on an entirely different level. His timing, precision, and knockout power are elite. And if Jake steps in thinking it's just another spectacle, Rogan believes it could end very badly for him.
What do you think of this Jake Paul fella?
I always say that if Jake Paul was not a YouTube star, people just looked at him like an up-and-coming boxer, you would say this kid's got a lot of fucking talent. He's dangerous. I think his strength is that they underestimate him because of what his background was. And they think there's no way that some guy who became famous off of YouTube is going to be an actual legit boxer. If you look at what he's done, he's a very good boxer.
Jake Paul didn't hold back, boldly declaring, "I would destroy him in the ring given the size." The blunt statement, even though he followed it with respect for Gervonta Davis's skill and heart, instantly sparked backlash. Critics argued that comments like this strip the fight of legitimacy, turning it into a contest of ego rather than sport. With Paul weighing in near 200 pounds as a cruiserweight and Davis ruling the lightweight ranks, the size gap feels impossible to ignore. To many, it's not just a mismatch, it's reckless showmanship disguised as competition.
I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super, super down.
I don't know if Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
For Tank, there's no way that this goes well for Tank Davis. Because if he wins, they go, oh yeah, world champion. Of course you were supposed to beat that YouTuber. If he struggles but wins, they go, ooh, Tank is washed. He struggled against Jake Paul. He still won, but he had a hard time. And then, of course, if he loses to Jake Paul, and him and boxing lose their credit.
Rogan's remarks came just as major updates about the fight dropped. The bout is officially set for November 14th, 2025, at the Kaseya Center in Miami, and it'll stream live on Netflix as a 10-round exhibition. But the real shock lies in the details. The catchweight is reportedly 195 pounds, a massive jump from Davis's usual 135-pound lightweight frame, and even higher than some of Paul's recent cruiserweight appearances. The announcement only fueled debate, with fans questioning whether this is a fair fight, or a spectacle built purely for headlines.
My point still stands where it stands. Jake Paul wins this fight. I already bet Gervonta Davis in the DMs. We locked the bet. Guys, it's obvious Jake wins this fight. If you guys know anything about fighting, you know about weight classes. You know that Jake's been training for actual years. He's been locked in.
Oh my days. Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Is this real? This can't be real. Because he was talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight. And now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks. and see if like the main pages have posted this, but Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta, State Farm Arena. This is random, no?
Beyond Rogan, a wave of boxing insiders and analysts have shared their thoughts on the matchup, and their reactions carry a mix of concern, caution, and outright doubt. Many question not just the fairness, but the safety of putting two fighters from such different weight classes in the same ring. Their voices echo a growing unease across the sport. Is this really competition, or has boxing stepped too far into the world of spectacle?
Oh, Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. Chilaquiles, chilaquiles.
Musty energy, musty energy, musty energy.
Oh, it's musty, and I say that respectfully. Per Mike Hoppinger in the Ring magazine, Gervonta Tank Davis, freshly off his domestic violence charges being dropped, will get into the ring with Jake Paul in Atlanta with a proposed date of November 15th. Lord child. Get your hand out of my pocket! Tank weighs about 135. Jake Paul weighs about 200-something pounds. So obviously this will be at a catch weight, and this possibly will not be a sanctioned fight where it will count on anybody's records. But I'm going to tell y'all like this. Tank fans, you niggas down bad. The hatred.
Musty energy.
You niggas is down bad. Tank basically on the back half of his career, according to my brother Nestor Gibbs from the Boxing Voice. This man, Gervonta Tank Davis, said, I am not fighting no Shakur Stevenson. The man said, I'm not even going to rematch Lamont Sanat. The man just said, I'm not even thinking about fighting Dev Dollars, Devin the Dream, Debo Haney. I am going directly into Jake Paul. I've been told you that Tank was the black Jake Paul. Tank been the black Jake Paul. Man ain't care about legacy. Man ain't care about none of that, bro. Tank fans, you niggas down bad. Protect your fighter. It is musty at the highest level. And poor Lamont Sanat, it might be over for Lamont Sanat. He got to fight somebody. You might need to fight Gary Russell Jr. right now. Tank Davis, Lord Child, Jake Paul, boxing down bad. This about to make a lot of money. The only plus in this is that Alicia Baumgardner, a.k.a. Bomb Amy, might be on this card. I would love to see Alicia Baumgardner back on Netflix. That is a plus, and my man Lucas Body might get on there as well, and Avius Griffin. So it might be a movie as far as the undercard. Tank Davis, you down bad, bro. Boxing is absolutely disgusting and musty at the highest level. Get it together. Tank is a 30-plus-year-old prospect at the back end of his career. He on his Mayweather McGregor at the age of 30. Lord child.
Gervonta Davis's head trainer, Calvin Ford, didn't shy away from the truth. He admitted the fight is risky, both because of the logistics and the massive size gap. Still, his tone was confident. *, we signed the contract. We're going to make it do what it do. *, Ford said his focus isn't on weight, but on gloves. Right now, both camps are deep in talks over whether lighter or heavier gloves will be used. He explained that Davis usually fights with 8-ounce gloves and suggested a compromise. Paul wears 10-ounce while Tank sticks with 8. In Ford's eyes, that adjustment could level the playing field just enough for Davis to prove skill can still overcome size.
My only concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s, so he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, I said, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting, you know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there, because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mixed match. It's supposed to be an expedition. Why does it matter? What, now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? All these prescriptions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope, you know what I'm saying? Tank don't really care, So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts. You know what I'm saying? So, again, he can weigh the 10s and we weigh the 8s. Then we got to fight.
Ford shared that, at first, The team was preparing for a rematch with Lamont Roach Jr., but when the chance to face Jake Paul suddenly appeared, they felt like fate had handed them something bigger. The Roach rematch, he admitted, made perfect sense from a pure boxing standpoint. Yet the Paul fight, well, that was a door to global spotlight and financial reward they couldn't ignore. Ford stood by the choice, saying Gervonta Davis had earned the right to these moments. Because sometimes, when the bigger door swings open, you walk through it, even if it's not the straightest road. But soon, the proposed clash between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis hit a wall of red tape. The Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission refused to approve the fight in Atlanta, citing the huge weight gap between the two men. Its chairman, Rick Thompson, didn't mince words, calling the event the dumbest I've ever heard and brushing it off as a money play. When Paul's camp asked for a weight class waiver, the commission refused again, warning the mismatch was simply unsafe. So now, the fight is headed to Miami.
Today, the chairman of the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission, the commission that is going to be voting whether or not to approve Tank Davis and Jake Paul. His name is Rick Thompson. He has some very choice words for Jake and Tank fighting. He says it's the dumbest ish he's ever heard. It's a money grabber, and he's not okay with that. And he doesn't like the arrogance of Tank Davis and Jake Paul announcing their fight, marketing their fight, having press conferences and shit before the commission can vote whether or not they're going to approve the fight. He calls it arrogance. Their concerns, obviously, the weight discrepancy between the two. In the state of Georgia, two competitors cannot outweigh each other by more than 9 pounds. Tank and Jake Paul's team have already submitted a rule waiver request to get that rule waived. And Rick Thompson also said in this article that he is expecting the committee to put it to a vote as to whether or not they're going to approve this fight on September the 18th when they're meeting again. Also, we got some insight that USA Today tried to reach out to other members of the committee, and all of them declined to comment on what's going on. But what I do know is that the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission, it's a 5-person panel that's going to be voting on this Tank Davis, Jake Paul shit.
Meanwhile, former world champion Amir Khan didn't hold back. He called the fight disgusting, voicing real concern that these lopsided exhibitions could cause serious injury, or worse, damage the sport's very reputation. He reminded everyone that weight classes and proper sanctioning exist for a reason. And then he took it a step further, suggesting that by choosing a fight like this instead of facing another top-tier boxer, Gervonta Davis risks turning the sport into a spectacle. To Khan, it looked less like a quest for greatness and more like a chase for money and attention. He admitted Davis is an elite fighter, but stepping into the ring with such a massive size gap raises questions, not just about safety, but about boxing's integrity. In the end, Khan's message came through loud and clear: this isn't the kind of fight a true champion should take.
There's a few boxers out there who are frowning at Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis fighting in an exhibition bout. You know, they can frown, but one fighter has been more vocal than the rest, and that's Amir Khan. The thing with Amir Khan, you know he's always been about his Wu-Tang cream, dollar bill, y'all. Now he's mad because Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul figured out a way to rob the bank, like Mayweather and Conor McGregor did. Amir Khan out here talking about, you know, someone's gonna get hurt. This needs to stop. That's why people respect MMA so much. You don't see these fools trying to go over to MMA and do what they do in boxing. There needs to be some kind of control. He pulled a Eubank Senior on us. Parliamentary procedure. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, if Amir Khan had an opportunity to fight Jake Paul, all it is, hey, guys, let's do the right thing and stop this social media nonsense. All fighters should stick to fighting, whether boxing or MMA. We shouldn't be crossing over, doing this misfit shit, fighting YouTubers or fighting Jake Paul.
On this fight,
a really bad mismatch. And you know what? Whoever the promoter is and that's agreed Gervonta to fight, and whoever the promoter is to fight for Jake Paul to say fight this little man, I mean, that's wrong, man. I mean, that's just like torturing someone. Yeah, I mean, going in there and hurting someone is just not fair on Davis. But like, say you don't know what position Davis is in. I heard that he's been having a lot of legal problems and been arrested a couple of times for a couple of felonies and stuff. I've seen with his ex-wife and stuff. So you know what? You don't know what's going through his head. Maybe he just wants to cash up and walk away from the sport. And maybe this is a great opportunity for him where he's seen this fight come up and he's like, fuck it, I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they're making boxing a joke, really.
Yeah.
One day someone's going to end up getting hurt so badly then it's going to definitely destroy the sport.
Meanwhile, Shakur Stevenson didn't sugarcoat his thoughts on the planned matchup between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. He called it a terrible idea, plain and simple, pointing to the massive size difference that makes the whole thing hard to take seriously. In Stevenson's eyes, Davis should be chasing a real boxing challenge, not diving into an exhibition that chips away at the sport's credibility. He stressed that Davis could make just as much, if not more, by skipping the spectacle and fighting a true elite instead. A genuine unification bout, Stevenson said, would mean something. In essence, he positioned himself as the rightful opponent for Davis, framing the Paul fight as nothing more than a money grab, not a moment of legacy.
You got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fighting?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. And he called cap on it. So if you're going to call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
I think that's terrible.
Why?
I mean, I get it because at the end of the day, it's the money business, and you want to make the most money. But from what I'm hearing, he can make more money in a fight with me. And if that's the case, why not fight me?
Sure. Do you think he beats Jake Paul?
Do I think he beats Jake? Yeah. I mean,
there's a huge size advantage, though.
It is, but I think Tank got the skills to make sure he come out on top.
Do you think that Jake has gone better?
Yeah, I think actually Jake got tremendously better from the time frame that he started till now. And in the right situation, I also could see him become a world champion.
Really?
KSI didn't hold back when talking about Jake Paul's fight with Gervonta Davis, calling the matchup a flat-out disgrace to boxing. He voiced clear disappointment in Paul's choice of opponents, hinting that Paul is dodging him and chasing easier fights instead. To KSI, it's not just about one bout, it's about what Paul's doing to the sport itself. His frustration runs deep, fueled by the belief that fans deserve a real showdown between them, not another spectacle built for headlines.
I mean, look, with Jake, the guy's been ducking me or running away from me for so long, man. Like, he's just making excuse after excuse, and now he wants to fight Tank. I mean, it just says the type of guy Jake Paul is. He only fights someone if he has a major advantage. Anything that's close, or anything that could actually be a decent fight, he runs away from it. So
Teofimo Lopez sees the Paul vs. Davis fight not as a clash for titles or pride, but as a spectacle, a show built on entertainment and money more than legacy or rankings. He admits there's no shame in that, because both fighters will walk away with massive paydays and the kind of mainstream spotlight most boxers only dream of. Sure, it might not have the weight of a championship bout, but Lopez believes it still serves a purpose. Even an exhibition like this can breathe life into boxing, pulling in new fans, widening its audience, and proving once again that when personalities, drama, and showmanship collide, the sport still knows how to captivate the world.
Very happy for Gervonta and Jake. I really am, man. It's good for the sport in some way, you know?
So a heavyweight versus a lightweight.
Yeah.
You got a fly hit me, yeah. A heavyweight versus a lightweight. How's this going to work?
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, you know, they know what they're doing. And, you know, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction? A show. A show.
Well, clearly it's a show, but when you've got a lot of people underestimating Jake Paul once again, but when you've got a heavyweight boxer who knows how to throw punches and knows the basics against a lightweight, it's quite a difference. I mean, have you sparred heavyweights before?
Yeah.
For competitive sparring in the ring?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same, not at all. Definitely got to move. I've actually played around a few times, went through between their legs just to duck around. But yeah, because they're taller, you know.
Despite constantly warning about the huge size gap between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, Joe Rogan hasn't let that overshadow his respect for Tank's raw talent. On his podcast, Rogan praised Davis as one of the most explosive punchers in the game, armed with elite timing, sharp precision, and ring intelligence that few fighters on earth can match. He urged Jake and his team not to fall into the trap of thinking size guarantees victory, reminding them that Davis carries the kind of knockout power that can flip a fight in an instant, no matter who's standing across the ring. In the end, Rogan made it clear, while Jake's physical edge is real, Tank's technical brilliance and experience make him far too dangerous to ever underestimate.
Gervonta Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. I'm a giant fan of the guy. I just loved, as a person who like really enjoyed technique, I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. I always admired guys who were able to find like the shortest path connecting with a shot, where it's just like the technique is so dialed in.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys that...
Do you side with Joe Rogan on this one, or do you believe Tank's about to silence every last doubter once again? Drop your predictions in the comments below, because this matchup has the whole boxing world divided, and the debate is just getting started.